In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know between investing and savings. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly how I decided to invest in order to put myself on a path towards financial freedom. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, it will mean a lot to me if you do. Also, why not smash that like button to help the YouTube algorithm recommend this video to lots more people. So saving and investing. Is there a difference? Well, generally, both words are used interchangeably, but in my eyes, there is a difference. Saving is when you put aside money that you don't spend for an emergency fund or maybe for a future short-term purchase. However, the key thing here is that you may need access to the money immediately. Investing, on the other hand, is when you put aside money that you don't spend and exchange it for an asset that will go up in value, therefore making the money grow and ultimately work for you. This is why saving is a pretty easy concept, because you can take a percentage of your income and put it in a savings account that you're not going to touch and set a threshold of how much you want to save, which usually people would say is around 3 months of living expenses. Now this is a pretty easy concept and can be done easily with just a little bit of discipline. But investing is when life gets interesting. Just think about anything fun or interesting that has ever happened in your life. That first time you asked that person you love out on a date. That first time you got behind the wheel of a car and put your foot down. The end of a milestone part of your life, like your graduation. Whatever you're thinking of, I'm pretty sure that in order to get to that moment in your life, it wasn't smooth sailing. There would have been lots of difficulties and tribulations that you would have had to conquer in order to get there. But in the long run, after you went over all those hurdles, you ended up being happy with where you had got to. Now that's exactly what happens with investing. There will be ups and there will be downs, and it's going to be difficult to stay level-headed. But if you do, and you do a little bit of research, you will come out on the other side a lot better than if you didn't. And this has been proven in history by millions of people who have done exactly this to become financially free. But just like with anything to do with investing, there is always a level of risk. And the more risk you take, the more you can gain. But equally, the more you could lose. But not everything is a high risk. So when it comes to investing, the whole financial world makes it very difficult and complicated, because at the end of the day, if it was really easy, that would mean that the whole financial industry would be completely obsolete. And to put that into context, the whole global financial sector was estimated to be approximately $90 trillion. But thanks to YouTube, you can learn anything these days for free. So why not learn some personal financial education in order to get into a better financial position in your own life? Now growing up, I used to think that investing was only done by the super rich or the people who had gone to uni and did a financial degree. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on the way that you look at it, unfortunately because I didn't come to this realization earlier, unfortunately that I have come to this realization right now and not later on in my life. But now in my 30s, I realized that investing is something that anyone can do. Now the next question comes about as to what to invest in. And it's like going to a multi-cuisine buffet where you can't decide on what to eat. And so the immediate go-to when thinking about investing is the stock market. Because that's what we have all seen in the Hollywood movies when we see trading floors or anything to do with investing. Then you have this mystical thing everyone is talking about these days, and that's obviously cryptocurrency. We then have these things that start to cross over between savings and investing and pretty much just confuse you, like ISA accounts, as there are multiple ISA options or investment accounts in UK. Now there's lots more ways to invest, as well as building your own business or buying premium bonds or even making the most out of your pensions. Now everyone's individual situation is going to be different. So deciding on what's best for you will be a personal decision. And remember, I have no financial background. So if advice is what you're looking for, I would recommend seeking professional financial advice. However, the only thing I can do is just tell you what I have learned and what I have decided to do in my own life. So first of all, when it comes to investing, the number one golden rule is to buy when it's low and sell when it's high. However, you can split the type of investor into two. The first type of investor is someone who invests for the long run. This is generally a safer method of investing and requires a little bit of research to understand whether what you are investing in has the potential to go up in value over a long period of time. And then you invest and forget about it for a few years and see how well it's done later on. The other type of investor is a short-term investor. This is someone who watches the markets intensely and tries to time the market to buy and sell a lot more frequently to create multiple moments of gains in a short time period. You can make a lot of money doing this, but it requires a lot more time and a lot more education to truly understand all the various aspects that can affect your investments. So personally, having a full-time job that has nothing to do with finance and being involved in lots of other things outside of my 9-to-5 job, I decided to invest as a long-term investor, where I could spend a little time researching and then invest and hope for the best in a few years down the line. And therefore, about a year and a half ago, I stumbled across an app called Freetrade, and I found out I could invest in companies really easily through an app on my phone. And being a tech geek, I always thought owning a piece of tech companies that I loved would be really great. So the first thing I did was I bought one stock of Tesla. Then I bought one stock of Apple. And then I caught the investing bug and I started to see both of those go up in value. And so I started to look into more companies that I had a genuine interest in. This then took me down a path of uneducated investing decisions.
Hey, I went up. What? My stock, MEG, it went up 2 points. Oh my gosh, do you realize that if I had invested my $127 in myself yesterday, that I'd have a lot more than that today? You know what? I'm gonna do it.
Do what?
Put all my money in me.
Monica, what are you talking about? You don't know the first thing about the stock market.
What's to know? Buy, sell, high, low, bears, bulls. Yes, Manhattan. Yeah, telephone number of the stock selling store.
So I ended up pretty much doing the same thing as Monica, since I had no financial knowledge or background. So I thought, let me do some research. And who better to learn from than the most successful investor in the whole world, Warren Buffett. And countless times I saw in interviews with him where he kept saying that if you are a beginner investor, the best thing that you can do is to invest regularly in a solid index fund. And over the course of 10 years, you will most likely beat the market. So I started doing this lazy style of investing, but probably the best and safest method of investing by putting a certain amount of my salary each month into the FTSE 100 and the S&P 500. Now I then started following various YouTubers who talked about investing and decided I wanted to diversify my portfolio a bit more, as I have experienced some great growth stocks and some safe investing in index funds. The next step up in my eyes was in dividend stocks, where I went for the safer route and chose some of the dividend aristocrats, which are companies that have increased their base dividend every year for at least 25 consecutive years. Meaning that just by owning a fraction of these very well established companies, they will then give me a small cut of the profits as a thank you. Now this way, not only was my investments going to increase in value with some highly reputable companies, but will also start paying me some money back on a regular basis through dividends. Now with all of these investments, apart from the first few I did with Freetrade, I made sure I was doing them in a stocks and shares ISA account, where you can invest up to £20,000 absolutely tax-free. And luckily for me, Trading212 have a free ISA account. However, due to a surge in people wanting to sign up recently, they have put new registrations on hold. But you can join the waiting list and use my referral link to get a free share when they do open up again. But a great alternative is Freetrade, the app I initially started with. They charge £3 a month for an ISA account. However, in the UK, you can make £12,300 tax-free on capital gains each year. And capital gains is essentially the amount that your investment goes up in profit. But remember, it only counts if you decide to sell the stock and benefit from the gain in capital. And similarly, the same applies for dividends, where you can earn up to £2,000 a year tax-free in dividends. Therefore, a standard Freetrade account will be sufficient for most people unless you're able to and intend to invest significant amounts of money each year. Now within the UK there are also some additional government schemes that you can use to invest your money, such as a lifetime ISA. This is where you can save up to £4,000 a year to help towards buying your first home or towards your retirement, and the government will automatically give you a 25% bonus on top of that. And this is pretty good, as it's really hard to find any investment or saving that can guarantee you a 25% return. And the money that you hold in a lifetime ISA can be invested into equities, bonds and other investments. So essentially, your money will also grow according to the amount of risk that you decide to take, plus the 25% bonus from the government. Therefore, this is great if you are looking to buy your first home or if you're saving some money aside for retirement. Hence why I have decided to try and max out my Nutmeg lifetime ISA to have a little bit extra for when I hit retirement age, and you can set up yours too using this referral link. But on the retirement side of things, I did also stumble across something called SIPs. Now these are self-invested personal pensions, otherwise known as DIY pensions. Now I have a private pension plan set up by the company that I'm employed at, and I make sure that I max out the pension benefits to get as much free money as I can from the company that I work for. And I recommend that you all do the same too. But if you do have any additional money after pay that you want to save for retirement, you can open up your own SIP where you can invest your money in the stock market and receive an additional 20% bonus from the government as a thank you for thinking about saving for life after retirement. Well, it's actually just paying you back the tax that you would have paid from your salary. Therefore, if you are a higher earner and fall within the higher tax rate, you can also claim a further 20%, making it 40% if you decided to invest into a SIP. So I guess apart from my initial method of investing, where I picked some companies randomly that I liked, all of the other methods are pretty low risk, safe investment options. And I personally put the majority of my money into these options. But if you're like me, and you like to live life a little bit on the edge, you may want to take a portion of your money and try out some more riskier investments. Now the first riskiest thing that I invested in was setting up my own business. And it's common knowledge that 9 out of 10 startups fail, but failures make you stronger, as I managed to learn a lot during that process to help me in many other ways in my life. And I'm still constantly looking for opportunities to venture into new businesses. But if you can find something that you really like and enjoy and manage to turn that into a business, you'll be on a path that can provide you absolute financial freedom. Now the next risky investment that I've jumped into is cryptocurrencies. The world of Bitcoin and all the other altcoins. When I first dabbled in this world, I had no idea what any of it was. But over the years, I have researched more and started to understand a little bit more about certain coins and the benefits around them. Therefore, I have now decided to dedicate at least 10% of my investments to this very risky method. The reason I say it's risky is because in the short term, the value of crypto coins are very volatile. But also, a lot comes down to the fact that the whole industry is very new in comparison to the stock market. This then means that there is a lot of unknown as to whether it is a good investment or not for the long run. But I'm willing to take the high risk gamble that it will be a good investment in the long run. But then there is the argument that high risks are like gambling or like playing the lottery, both of which I would not recommend when trying to achieve financial freedom. However, educated high risk is always something interesting to play around with a percentage of your net worth, usually with an amount that you would be happy to lose. But if you want to experience that feeling of the lottery, there is another alternative within the UK where you can never lose your principal investment, but you have the chance of winning some great monetary prizes. And this is premium bonds, where NSNI is a great way of gamifying your savings and being able to play the lottery without having to lose money each week. Instead, you can pay between £25 to £50,000 into an NSNI account, and in return, you will get a small interest each month. But the fun comes in where every month each account gets a randomly generated number, which gives them the chance to win up to £1 million tax-free. Now, all these investing methods are not an exhaustive list, but they are all things that either I am doing currently or plan to do in the near future. And like I've mentioned before, I have no financial background, so if you want advice on your personal situation, I would always recommend seeking professional financial help. But at least you know the path that I've taken towards achieving my financial free future. Let me know in the comments below which ones you're using and which ones you think are better than the others. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that red button and click on the bell as well, so you get notified when my next video comes out. And as always, like the video, comment down below and share with your friends and family. Peace and love to all of you. See you in the next video. Bye.